Welcome to Ask Cadence, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading. My name is Pete Wright, and I am sitting here with Connie Plowman. Hello, Connie.
Hello, Pete. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. We have a special guest is going to join us in just a moment, a recent graduate of the Cadence Project Management course, and we have lots of recent graduates, and they're all very special in their own way. But Denise Tischler is one who really struck us because she came in as part of the PMI Education Foundation joint scholarship program that we are gifting to educators to get project management skills. And so, Connie, you have been really instrumental in developing this program. And so I wanted to share a few minutes with you so you could tell us what the program is, how it got started, and really what the benefits are to teachers. So, how did you get started with this with PMI Education Foundation?
Well, thanks, Pete, for the question. Along the way, several years ago, Cadence wanted to connect the business and education communities together. We recognize that our future project managers are students today in the high school, elementary school levels, and we wanted to bring project management into the classroom. And the PMI Education Foundation is one of the facilitators that help make that happen. So we connected up with them several years ago to say, how can we bring those two communities together? And in doing so, we're offering free training for teachers and educators to help them understand the principles and basics of project management to take it back into their classroom.
Now, the process of doing this, Cadence invites how many educators to a given class?
It depends on how many seats are available in each one of our classes, but the process is that the teacher or educator needs to apply for that seat in class through the PMI Education Foundation. There's an application online at pmief.org for the Education Foundation. It's a quick process. It basically says, what kind of teaching do you do? How do you see this used in your classroom or curriculum planning? The Education Foundation notifies you if you're qualified or not, and then sends them to us to actually get registered for the training. So the training is actually in our public seminars, although right now, Pete, I don't know if you even are aware of this, I'm working on a teacher-only class later this year where it's just going to be all teachers, and I think that's going to be a really powerful, fun, and educating session.
Well, that was my next question. We'll talk to Denise a little bit about this angle of it, but I'm interested in how now that we've had some teachers come through the program and come through the courses, what your impression is of their general feedback of being in this more sort of, dare I say, kind of hardcore business process class. What is how are they able to integrate and get, and what are the kind of results that they're able to get out of it? What's your impression of their success?
Well, there's a couple of things. We've had several teachers come through the class, and of course, in our classes, you are working on your own real projects in class. And so Denise was fortunate enough to be working on her project in the latest class. But over time, we've had other teachers working on their own projects. So first, they're able to immediately apply the tools and techniques to their real projects. The challenge we have, and that we're finding, is translating business terms into educator terms. And so when you hear the word functional manager, that might be your superintendent or district manager. So we're tailoring course content when we teach for teachers so that they take those business terms into their education world.
We've had an opportunity to talk to a couple of educators, and I think that's an interesting point that a project is a project. If you get the language right, the concepts really are very consistent.
And when students are doing their senior projects in their senior year of high school, those are projects working with teams, having to deliver a result, and they're using project planning tools and techniques to build and execute that project. And so we want the teachers to be able to understand what are those principles their students would be using to help deliver business results, or in this case, their senior project.
Now, you mentioned a minute ago that educators who are interested in developing their own project management skills and going through this program would have to go through the PMIEF.org site and apply. Can you share a little bit about what it takes to be considered for this program? What does PMI look for to send an educator our way?
It's pretty basic information. They obviously have to fill out the application in terms of name, address, contact info, and then they have to also indicate, what is their level of teaching? Are they a principal? Are they an elementary teacher, secondary teacher, etc.? And then explain why they want to receive this project management training, and briefly explain their plans in terms of regarding how would they implement it in project-based learning in their classroom, and that's it. Pretty much. It's a very simple application process. It takes very little time, but we want to make sure that the right teachers are in the classroom, in our classroom, for the right reasons of taking it back into their educator world.
And when do you think you're going to be able to get this teachers only course off the ground?
Well, Ashley, Pete, it's going to be July 2010, so just in a few months. We're doing it in the summer because that's when teachers are available. And we have a group of people up in Kennewick, Washington, and we're going to be doing it for the Tri-City School District. So we're very excited about this teacher-only session and then really tailoring the content to the education world.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great program. Well, I think we've got Denise here. Let me go get Denise, and we'll get some direct feedback from an attendee, an educator and attendee in the Cadence Project Management course, and see just how applicable it really was. Thanks so much for your time, Connie.
Thanks, Pete.
I am a school principal. I work in a pre-K through 8th grade school. And I have been in education for many years, both public and private, as a teacher. And then most of my experience as an administrator has been in the private school itself. So with that, I was looking for opportunities of connecting the school students into businesses and vice versa, so that we are supporting one another.
What is it? Tell me how that works. I mean, in terms of your overall philosophy, what do you look for when you try to connect students into businesses?
I look for ways that students can be a part of that they can learn when I get out of school, what is it that I want to do? How do I want to go about doing that? What are the expectations? What will be expected of me, and how will I be able to meet those needs?
And you work with pretty young kids. I mean, what are the results that you look for in this kind of a relationship?
I do work with young students. I work to help them learn. I think the basic philosophy is respecting self and respecting others. And in doing that, how can I be doing my part? People have given me the opportunity as a child, people have given me the opportunity to learn. What is it that I'm going to do with this learning? What can I do to make a difference in the world tomorrow? But tomorrow can be today. What is it that I'm going to do? So it's the little things that we do that make the difference. It doesn't mean we have to go out and save the world. What's one small thing I can do today to make my life better, and maybe to make life better in someone else's eyes for them?
So, take me to that process of how you got connected with Cadence and your interest in exploring project management through this course.
I'm a big picture type of person, and I wanted to see what are better ways that we can go about solving the problems that we're solving in education today. As you listen to the news and to the media, there are many things that affect the education that we are providing for our students. And as we provide that education, we want to look at how can we do this in a way that will be most beneficial to everyone. And as I look at that big picture for where are these children headed, by the time a student goes through elementary school, through junior high and high school, by the time they graduate, what is it that they're graduating with? Are they able to go into a business and be successful? Are they able to offer needs to be able to give to the company something that they need to become more successful again tomorrow? A lot of times when I look at the elementary schools, and I listen to my husband who's been in business for years, and his philosophy on the world is very different than the education philosophy. And I've looked for ways, how are these connected? And as I met Connie actually through my husband, and as I talked with her and found out about the project management course, I considered it a real opportunity, a real benefit to be able to take this class and see how does the business world think and what are the terminologies that they are using and how can they be utilized within the education world. We're all reaching for the same level, the same success. How do we get there? And what are the things that we can do to help build that bond between the two?
That's is such a wonderful opportunity to digress a little bit, because it's not immediately intuitive when you say, this is here's a program for educators to join a project management course. It's not immediately intuitive how that connection really works. How do you then go back as a school principal? How do you go back to your school and help sort of spread the word? I mean, is your intent to go back and help the teachers that work with you really explore how to implement these project management philosophies on a curriculum basis, or what comes next?
I think there's two things that I look at. As an administrator, I look at the opportunity of saying, all right, in education, in our school, we need to do some restructuring. This is this might be a project that we need to do here. We need to restructure so that we can build whether we're building our enrollment, whether we're strengthening our curriculum, there are things from an administrator's standpoint that we can utilize, like the matrix, and pull that matrix in and help people to figure out these are the jobs that have to be done. These are the people that are working at these different levels. This is how long it's going to take. These are the things that have to happen before this next step takes place, so that people can see that whole big scope. A lot of times people go into a project and they just know the one little part that they're doing, and they haven't a clue how that affects everyone else, whether the people that worked on the project before them or those that are waiting for them to accomplish their tasks so that they can begin. So as an administrator, that whole big process is a very important thing to me. When I look at my teachers, I see this process being able to be utilized much in the same way that our curriculum mapping is done, or our focus on accreditation, and how are we proving what it is that our students are learning. How are they learning? Why are they learning? How do we assess this? How do we prove that we are meeting the federal standards, the state standards, that our students are learning everything as they're supposed to be learning? And as a teacher, whether they put it in focus of what am I going to be teaching for this entire year, or break it down into what's the next project that maybe my middle school students are going to be working on in science, and what are their connections, what are the aspects that they're going to have to accomplish, and how are they going to go about getting there? Who do they see for each of these different phases? Who is their key support in these areas? So I can see that matrix that's been used in the project management seminar actually carrying over into the classroom. So whether it's done on a school basis as an administrative level, or as a teacher planning for the full year, or as a student who's actually focusing just on a class, that they're going to be much, if you're going to college, you'd get a syllabus for your class. This matrix might be much like that syllabus, only it breaks it down even farther and says not only do you have to accomplish these steps, these are the things that have to be brought into each one of those areas.
Now, did you have any formal project management experience or training prior to this course?
I had absolutely none.
Okay, so now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Give us your impressions of the course and how how some of these systems how you were able to frame some of these systems in through your work over the 3 days that you were involved in it.
It was a very compact 3 days. There was a lot to absorb within that time. And one of the biggest obstacles that I needed to overcome was looking at the business language and being able to put it in the terminology of what are my education terms that could take the place of these business terms.
How did that translate?
Well, it depended on what the project was going to be. I'm looking at a restructuring for my school. And in that restructuring, I'm obviously the project manager. And yet I have different parent groups and I have different teacher groups, and each one of them plays a different role. So when I go back to those terms, it's almost like you need to create a new chart where you have, I'm drawing in front of me. If you could see my hands, I'm picturing this whole list of business terms, and next to it, I'm trying to place the education term that would take the place of that business term. And
that would somehow capture not only the roles and responsibilities of individual contributors, but of these constituent groups.
yes, exactly.
Sure.
And helping those different constituent groups actually have a guideline for what is it that I'm supposed to be doing and what are the things that I don't have to be part of.
Denise, thank you so much for both your willingness to attend and participate in the course and for thinking along these lines for our kids. It's just a real treat to meet an administrator who's really working in such a progressive way to connect our today's kids with tomorrow's opportunities.
Well, I think it's important. And it's where we have to head. And that's just exactly it. It's tomorrow's opportunities. And these children need to know that they're going to play a vital role in our world. And giving them the power, empowering them to step forward and to live their dreams, to reach out for the things that they want, to meet up with the accomplishments that they think they're capable of doing. Because if they don't think they can get there, they never will.
Thank you so much, Denise, for your time today. I appreciate you joining us on Ask Cadence.
Well, thank you very much.